The topic that I want to talk about today is empathy. The world lacks empathy. I'll get into what I mean by that in just a bit. Besides real life examples, I feel like the biggest form of evidence that I could use for this is social media: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, I want to say, especially Twitter. But basically, on all these social media sites, depending on what you sometimes come across or commonly come across on your timeline, you've definitely seen posts that involve hatred in some way, shape, or form, whether it's fat phobia, homophobia, racism. Those are just to name a few, for example. And there are times where there are people in the comments that are very supportive and fighting against it. But there might also be times where you'll come across posts where in the comments people are actually supporting that kind of hatred. And it doesn't help that the more numbers you can produce from whatever you say or whatever you post, the more you will be pushed to the public. And then there's other people out there that have the same mindsets and hateful mindsets and hateful beliefs that you have, then that wildfire only gets bigger. I actually wrote down an analogy or quote of sorts that I wrote to make sense of this next part that I'm going to speak about. Empathy is the needle that bursts your bubble if you have hateful prejudice belief systems, or if you're someone who refuses to see or acknowledge someone else's suffering, oppression, or struggle. Fucking nailed that. From my own journey and struggle through mental health, and being diagnosed a few years ago, there were a lot of things that I had to uncover about myself that only furthered my struggle with mental health. I think one example of this is judging other people based on their looks. I would never outwardly ever call anybody ugly or make fun of their appearance or anything like that. It wasn't in my nature, which is a very vague thing to say, but I never found humor behind it. I never understood it, but I had believed that. Probably from my own experiences when I was younger, whether I was getting called ugly or just unattractive by other people or being made fun of by my own family members. You receive that type of hurt, I guess you could say trauma as well, from anyone in your environment. It's also promoted in the media as well. I mean, this is how you should look. No, this is how you should dress. This is how you should smell. This is how you should style your hair. This is what clothes you should wear, for example. You experience these things your whole life, and it becomes a learned mindset. You start to believe in these things, and not only do you start to believe in these things for yourself, but you start to believe these things about other people. And I always try to tell people this, is that when you actively see someone being hateful towards someone else, whether it is about their skin color, size, religion, their culture, how they eat, ableism, making fun of someone who is older, regardless of what it may be, it's kind of like, you know those mirrors that people warn you about in like weird hotels? They tell you to like put your finger up against a mirror, and I think it's that if there's a space in between your fingers, then it's a real mirror, but if there isn't, then it's a one-way mirror and somebody's on the other side of it and they can see. I don't know if I'm making sense with any of this, but basically, let's say if it's something that can be applied to yourself and to someone else. If I'm online or I'm in person and I go up to someone and tell them that they're ugly, or I go up to my friend group and I say, hey, I think this person over here is ugly, and I'm criticizing them for their looks or how they dress or their face or whatever, with that same energy that I'm putting out towards them, more than likely I'm also being judgmental towards myself. I'm criticizing my own looks. I'm being hyper aware of my nose, my ears, my face symmetry, my teeth, what have you. This is where empathy comes into play, because if I do go and judge someone for the way they look, or hate on someone for the way they look, that's not really helping them or myself. And it's especially not helping myself, whether I'm aware or not, if I want to get better. Oh, there's a bug on my camera. Get out of here. Earlier on in my mental health journey, I had to unlearn these beliefs, and I did have a difficult time at first unlearning them. One way that helped me get a better understanding of how to undo these belief systems and work on practicing actions based off of love towards myself and others, and being supportive of myself and others, was through empathy. And this is how I learned empathy. As simply put as I can make it, if you have been through a hard time in life, regardless of what that may be, whether you were bullied or abused in some way, shape, or form, or you lost a job, maybe when you were younger, your parents couldn't afford to get you the clothes that kids at school who came from wealthy families could afford. Whatever it may be, whatever hardship you've gone through, that you can remember, not fondly, but you can remember very well how you felt. The pain, the anxiety, the sadness. Maybe you felt alone. Maybe you shut people out of your life. Maybe you felt like nobody will understand you. All those feelings, the person that you are judging is also feeling them. Whether it's now or in the past, maybe they're still in the cycle of their hardships, and so they're feeling those emotions consistently every day, and they're basically going through a hard time, similarly to the hard times that you have gone through. If you can remember those emotions you felt when you went through those hard times, and you are judging the other person or criticizing them or making fun of them, bullying them, and you don't want to do that anymore, empathy, I believe, is a way to begin undoing all those harmful beliefs and start working towards the betterment of yourself and how you treat others, and definitely how you treat yourself. If we don't, if we don't, I don't know what'll happen, and I think about this a lot. I don't know what'll happen. It makes me emotional a little bit. I don't know if that's cheesy or whatever. I imagine having kids in the future, and of course, not only coming from a perspective of wanting to be a better parent than my own parents were. I know what my upbringing was like. I know how I felt and the things I went through as a kid. I have seen the things that other people go through. I've seen other people go through pain. I've gone through pain myself because of all these things, all these hateful belief systems. I mean, I wish I could say that they could grow up in a world with healthier environments, with safer environments, with people that care about each other and support each other and love each other and whatnot. Of course, I don't know what that would realistically look like. I can only envision it. And I guess that's the purpose of this video, is for me to kind of add a little drop in the bucket or drop in the ocean. I want to envision living in a world without those hateful beliefs. And I feel like not the only way, but one of the ways to start working towards that is by developing skills like empathy, where one can take this skill and work on themselves. And then if they before were going online and making fun of people or agreeing with others on certain hateful beliefs and just spreading that negativity, that toxicity, that what I would like to say poison, that mental poison. We can work towards that so that we don't make those choices. We can make better ones that are more supportive, that are more considerate of other people's feelings, that are more considerate of our own feelings, that reflect more on how we treat ourselves. And that's, the reality of it is it all starts with ourselves. I do believe that anybody with the effort can change and be better and do better. Learning the skill of empathy is one way to do that. What's the other option, right? We know how things are now. They don't work. The systems that we have in place now, they don't work. Ignoring our feelings doesn't work. Attacking other people for, in my mind, nonsensical things that they shouldn't be attacked for, like the way they look, the color of their skin, if it's a disability, their religion, their age, doesn't work. As long as we can work towards treating ourselves with respect and kindness and love and apply that to others, especially with, again, the skill of empathy, because I feel like if you want to treat others better and treat yourself better, I feel like empathy is a very important and useful skill to have. We got to start taking action upon it. If I could impress upon you an exercise or a thing that you can start practicing, is if there's a conflict that you're in with someone in your life, or you've seen someone go through a conflict as of late, and maybe you have a hard time understanding why a person feels how they do or acts how they do. Maybe that struggle that they're going through is something that you have gone through in the past. And all you need to do is connect the dots. You felt this way before, and they also feel this way now, or they have felt that way recently. Oh, dang, I remember how I felt back then. That must be really hard for them. They could use some support. And I would like to also emphasize that I know that there's a lot of other complexities in life. Building relationships with people, for example, sometimes can be difficult, you know? Everyone is their own unique person. We all have our own things that we're working on to do better, or things that we really should work on to do better so that we're not going around harming others or harming ourselves, whether, God forbid, physically, but mentally, emotionally. I lost my train of thought. I hate when I'm on a roll and I lose my train of thought. Just took a look at my phone a few minutes ago to see if I covered everything that I wanted to talk about, and I think I did. Empathy. It's a very useful skill to have. I'm just gonna get one more shot of this tree, okay? I don't know if you can see how big that is. You know what? Let me just give you a size reference. Okay, so this is the tree here, and this is me standing next to the bench next to the tree. I don't know if this can pick this up, but as you can see, incredibly massive. Of course, I know there's red oaks in California and whatnot. I don't think I've ever seen a tree this big before in my life, and I'm from Wisconsin. Thumbnail maybe? I don't know.